Candace and Siobhan.
Good morning. This morning we have Candace Myrick with us, and she has just been released from prison. She was convicted of manslaughter, and today she's with us to tell us her story. Good morning, Candace.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing good.
Very good. Now, you were convicted of manslaughter, and you've just been released from prison. Tell us what happened that day, June 8, 2008. What was going through your mind?
God, I can remember like it was yesterday. My 2-year-old, she was in the other room, and I was sitting in the bedroom watching TV. My husband, he came in drunk, and I knew something was wrong. So he came in and he slapped me down. I was 5 months pregnant. He told me that if he wasn't the father, no one else would be. And so he started kicking my stomach. And I knew at that point that either my child or I both were going to die. And no matter how hard I tried to get up, he still kept kicking me until finally he fell. And I ran to the side of the dresser and I picked up the gun. I didn't want to shoot him. That was the father of my kids. And so he launched at me and I shot. And I saw blood come from his chest, so I immediately called 911. And before I know it, I was in the hospital and I was waking up and the doctor was telling me that it was a miracle that my child lived. But 3 days later, the police came to my door and they said they were charging me with manslaughter. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why I was getting punished for saving my child and myself. I had to have my baby in jail. I missed out on his first birthday. I couldn't take my daughter to her first day of school. And that hurt because I was missing out on their lives. All because of forensics, all because of police said that I meant to kill him. And I only shot once. I don't even know how to shoot a gun. But I guess I'm out now, so I guess it's worth it. Now I can move on. This is my story.
It's very touching, and I'm glad that they were able to present the evidence so that you can be free and reunite with your family. Well, I do wish you the best in your journey and in your life, and thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This morning, we're talking about people who have been wrongfully convicted. And on average, about 10,000 people a year are convicted in prison for crimes that they may have not done due to lack of forensic science, due to reasonable doubt, due to lack of evidence that they just don't have. Also, the number one reason is eyewitness misidentification. A lot of times, these people, they point out people who they've never seen before for whatever reason. They can't remember who the person was. And I think sometimes they just do it just to get it over with, just to put the blame on someone else. Also, these people who are innocent, that have been proven innocent, and that have later been exonerated, they usually spend about 13 years in jail. So all this time they're missing out on family, on friends, on jobs, society in itself. Now, one gentleman, his name is Timothy Cole, he was incarcerated for brutally raping a young woman. She was a college student. She was 20 years old. He himself was also a veteran, and he was a student. Now, the reason why he was convicted was, of course, due to misidentification. The woman herself, Michelle Mallon, she pointed him out as the person who brutally raped her. Now, I don't know what the situation was. I don't know if she was blindfolded or she just couldn't remember who raped her, but she pointed this man out due to evidence that the investigators gave her that made her think that this was the person that raped her. This man died in jail at 39 years old due to an asthma attack, and she said that the person who raped her was smoking at the time, but obviously they found out that he has never smoked in his life. He doesn't smoke because he has asthma, and due to that he died in prison. And he was later exonerated, and his record was expunged due to DNA evidence. All of this matter because, as I said before, these people are missing out on everything. They're missing out on their life, on their family, their friends, and their jobs, and they're in prison for a very long time for something that they did not do. They're simply innocent. They've been claiming their innocence, but all of this has been ignored. Also, these people, they're denied appeals. Like, they go to the court, they go to their attorney try to put in motions, try to make appeals to get them off, but over and over again, the courts deny for them to present this evidence. People who have been sentenced to death, since 1992, 15 people have been released from jail, released from prison, death row, for being innocent due to DNA evidence. Also, since 1992, 39 people have been executed and later found out that they were indeed innocent. This guy, his name is Cameron Todd, he was convicted of murdering his 3 kids due to arson. He has a 2-year-old and he has a set of twins. The day that this happened, his house burned down, and witnesses claim, his neighbors claim, that he was outside worrying about his car, trying to move his car instead of trying to go in and get his kids. Also, there were some experts that they say were experts who were supposed to go in and investigate, and they came back and said that he indeed, he did this intentionally. Now, over and over again, he claimed his innocence. He was in jail for 14 years. He kept saying, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. And over and over, they ignored it. They wouldn't let him present the evidence. He died by lethal injection at age 36. And a few months later, the state got involved and they hired their own experts. And they found out that he indeed was innocent. It was not intentional. And it was not intentional. Yeah, it was not intentional. Now, some other contributing causes are false confessions. Sometimes, people do lie for whatever reason. Most of the time it's for personal gain, whatever they think they're going to get out of it. Informants and snitches. This is what happened in Cameron Todd's case. There were some people on the inside of the jail who were saying that he confessed to them that he did it, when in fact he didn't. A lot of times investigators, they'll bribe the people or tell them, I'll give you this if you do that for me, and they'll do it. Also, improper forensic science. A lot of times, the same thing that happened in the arson case, they don't fully investigate. They don't have all the materials they need in order to prove that this in fact happened. They're unable to afford a private attorney. A lot of times these people are in jail, their families don't have enough money to get a private attorney, so therefore they're stuck with a public defender. Also, another thing is the fact that for the majority of the jury, they're all white. So this is a downplay in the minorities when they're on trial.
Like she was saying, what one of the contributing causes, forensic science, is a tool used in the criminal justice system to determine if a person is guilty or not. It was introduced in the mid-1980s, and forensic science problems, it was basically a major factor in the criminal justice system determining if, wrongful convictions, and basically they was overturned by DNA testing. The use of DNA. 48 states have laws permitting the use of DNA testing. Motions are often denied in court, and the odds are 350 million to 1. You can get a piece of hair, your skin follicles, blood, semen, and they use these items in the case to determine if a person is guilty or not. It can be the smallest part in a crime, but that smallest part can help a person become free. The Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was a project where it helped men and women become free. Barry Sheck and Peter Nimko are the co-founders, and Barry Sheck was a lawyer in the O.J. Simpson case. And what these two men did is help men and women become free by getting appeals and having a DNA testing to set them free. They gave their community service to these people. They didn't have to do it, but they did it. We have a video clip of a man named Marvin Lamont Anderson. He was a man that was convicted for 15 years and convicted of sodomy, robbery, and abduction.
I wasn't scared. I wasn't as a child. Yet, over the years, I grew into a man that I am today. Well, I basically grew up in prison.
Marvin Anderson was a typical American teenager. He played softball with friends. He was a volunteer firefighter. But when he was 18, his life changed forever. He was arrested and convicted for a rape he didn't commit. Meanwhile, his friends on the outside were starting their lives. They got married, had kids, started careers. Every appeal was denied. He was told he didn't have the right to DNA testing. He was told his evidence was lost.
For years, he sitting there appealing cases, back to the courts, Supreme Court, Circuit Court, back and forth. And you know you have evidence to prove you're innocent, and each time it's being denied.
When Marvin was 37, Virginia finally passed a law letting people appeal for DNA testing to prove their innocence. Marvin's evidence was tested. It proved that another man committed the crime. He was finally cleared, but it took more than half his life. More than 200 people have been exonerated by DNA. Almost a third of them were under 21 when they were arrested. They lost the prime of their lives for crimes they didn't commit. How many more innocent people remain behind bars? Sign the petition today to help fix our broken criminal justice system.
More than 275 people have been exonerated by DNA testing, and more than 150 has been freed, by having DNA testing. We have a graph here today that shows from 1989 to 2010 of how many men and women have been freed through DNA testing. And as you can see, from 1989, it was very small. And as the years went up, it stayed constant throughout here. And the highest year is 2002.
With that being said, you want to ask who are being exonerated. Well, if you look at the criminal justice system, you will see that most of the African American are taking up the jail cells. And next to that leaves 30% of white individuals. And then, of course, there's Latino and Asian, but that represents a small amount compared to the African Americans. And with that, you can ask if women are being exonerated. Women are actually being exonerated because there have been 4 women actually to be exonerated through the DNA testing. Now, Lynn DeJob was the first woman to be exonerated through the DNA testing. What happened was she was charged with manslaughter for killing her daughter. Later, they found out that because of the DNA that was presented, it was actually her daughter's boyfriend due to a cocaine overdose. And so, luckily, she's out, but she's lost a daughter. And with that, life after exoneration, many people, they struggle finding work. They struggle regaining their life back. And so it's hard for them to compose themselves when they've lost everything and there's nothing that the state will do to help them. Luckily, what they do have in some states are compensation laws. And with the compensation laws, roughly 27% of individuals are actually being compensated through money, through help finding a job placement, and things of that nature. And with that, what I'm going to actually show you is basically a state. And if you look at it, Georgia does not have any compensation laws. So the people in Georgia who are being wrongfully convicted and getting out of prison, they have to fend for their own. And in Florida, they actually have compensation laws. And if you get a chance, you can visit this website and look at the different states that have the compensation laws and see what they have to do. And a lot of times to get the money or get the programs they need to be assisted on, they have to go in and do a lot of paperwork just to prove that they have been exonerated. And with that, here's are some things that we've done. We've actually donated to the Innocent Project Fund, which helps individuals get compensated, which helps with the DNA testing because it is so expensive. We've also put a link on our Facebook and Twitter pages, just getting the word out and letting people know that this does exist and people need to be set free. And also with that, here's are some things that you can do, and I'm going to actually, well, they're going to actually pass out a sheet that will help you to help others. You can be a part of the process to set people free. And you all can donate. You can donate to the Innocent Project. You can donate actually to Life After Innocent Project, which is a nonprofit organization that is ran through volunteers who decide to basically volunteer their lives to help individuals who need to be set free. And those are lawyers, those are just individuals who want to intern and things of that nature. And you can reach out to media outlets just like this. This is part of media, then let it be recorded and sending it out on YouTube. And you can actually host a local fundraising or educational event letting people know. And with that, you can join the email list with the Innocent Project, just updating you with different cases that have been put up to date. And also contact local, state, and federal legislatures, just making sure that you support the Innocent Protection Act, which is going to help with the John Reeves get compensated more. And with that, that concludes our presentation. I hope you all have enjoyed yourselves and have a wonderful day.